Ah, hello, it's me. Who else would it be? How are you doing, Kirsty? I was literally just thinking of you because I was like, oh, I could have seen if you wanted this deck. Not that I don't want to take it with me, but you can see me. Something is going on with the birds. So today I'm gonna do the 5, 6, 7 of Pentacles that I talked about doing a minute ago. Um, so life has been real interesting. Like I feel like the full moon in Leo came in real quiet, like a lion in the savannah, and then it was on the day because it was on that Sunday, which was the 5th, when it was like full, like the night before. Everything was good, everything was quiet, everything. I'm just a juicy piece of whatever out in the savannah, minding my own business, grazing in the grass, and then and then it like bounced out of nowhere. It was ferocious. I'm like, oh my gosh. Now my Chiron is in Leo, and it was like 2 degrees. The full moon was 2 degrees away from my Chiron, and also my Saturn is in Aquarius, but it would have been like 7 degrees away from my Saturn. Hey Steph, how you doing? And like the 10 of Pentacles, 10 of Pentacles, 2 of Pentacles, 10 of Swords. Oof. This accurate. With the 5 of Pentacles at the bottom of the deck, it came out of nowhere. And it's not like, hold up. Okay. It came out of nowhere. Yes, I am. And I'm doing well. Thank you for asking. The bird, something is up with the birds though. Um, so yeah, like I feel like everything was going so smooth. Everything was going so well. And then it was the smallest, not the smallest thing, um, but something happened Sunday that triggered me. And then I was just like, if I could change my flight and go home right now, like I would. Like I'm ready to go. I've been here for long enough. And then I went back to like all of these thoughts that I haven't had in a while. With the 2 of Pentacles, the 10 of Pentacles, 2 of Pentacles, 10 of Swords, where it's like, is this like, and I guess like I feel like I've been in this space of, what is that? I feel like I've been in this space of seeing outside of myself more, if that makes sense. Um, like noticing things that I didn't necessarily notice before, or being open to like see things that I wouldn't have been open to see with a world view that was, it's not that it's necessarily me centric, but I guess the full moon in Leo ultimately ended up giving me an opportunity to redefine the balance between love of others and love for self. Because I feel like usually what'll happen is I'll get triggered. My Taurus moon will kick in, my Mars and whatever. All of these astrology, excuse. The other fish, the not so nice fish, will kick in, and it'll be like, then like my love for self takes priority over everything. And it's like, you know what? I'm done. I don't want this. I'm good. Da da da. You dreamt of an old door like way back in Rome, Israel days, and there was a plaque over the door with 2 fish on it. Oh, snap. You got Pisces ancestors? Um, so yeah, and it was so weird though, because at the same time, it was like I felt the way that I was feeling, but then I didn't at the same time. So it was so weird, but I couldn't like get over it because I was like, you know what? I'm gonna take a nap. I'm gonna lay down. I'm gonna wake up feeling better. And I woke up and I felt better, but it was just like, I don't know what to do with this. And so that was Sunday. Then Monday, so like Sunday, I got triggered. Monday or Tuesday, my host, my friend got triggered. So, and I guess it was interesting because with him, I've never necessarily like for me, I know what I go through. I know what I've been through. So I know when it's not necessarily the person in front of me that's upsetting me as much as like other people that like or other things that happened in the past. And then it's like, well, this is an occurrence of that. And that was another thing. Cause like I know how much I've grown. We've been friends for like 6.5 years. It'll be 7 years in a few months. Uh actually, yeah, it'll be 7 in a few months. Or we've known each other. And we were quick friends. So basically we've been friends for like 7 years. And in the past 7 years, like I know how much I've it's weird to think about it being like 7 years. We met in 2016. It's 2023. Like it doesn't seem real. Um, and like I know how much I've changed. I know how much I've grown, and I also know my history and everything. Um, your mom was a Pisces. You put it on your Pisces reading. Oh, snap. That's what. Tell me why. I was like, I was like, I could get on the train right now. I was like looking to see if I can move my flight. I was like looking to see how much it would be to book a hotel. Cause I was just like, you know what? And I was just gonna sneak out. Cause he like, and again, like it was so nonsensical at the same time. Cause like there's a part of me that's like, like, why am I doing this? Like it's not even that deep. But at the same time, there was another part of me that like, oh look, there's a seagull. That was like, well, remember this and remember that and remember the other thing. But like I was saying, it's like I've grown and I've changed so much since like we first met each other. And he's done the same. And it was like it's not fair for me to ask him or to expect him to like look at who I am now, especially now that I've been through my darkest night and I've faced a lot of the stuff that I needed to face, a lot of the stuff that kept me there. Um, And so like I'm not the same person because I'm not dealing like I don't have the same restrictions and limitations that I did back then. And another thing that's come up because like so when I left my job, I got severance and stuff, right? So I was able to afford this trip, but I'm not working right now. And so there's been this weird, and I was telling Kirsty about it. There's been this weird like the beginning of our friendship. I feel like a lot of there wasn't like there was a fair amount of tensity or tension. There was a fair amount of tension over like money. And it would be like me being like, I don't want to spend money on this. I don't want to spend money on that. And then he would be like, well, you have like this super nice phone. You have like this nice TV. Like, what do you mean you don't have any money? And I'm like, I bought that stuff when I had money. Now the money is gone. The stuff doesn't just evaporate because I don't have the money anymore. Right? Like I paid it in full when I got it, so it's not like someone's gonna come in and like take it because I'm not making payments on it. Like right now, I don't have the money, and that was a bit of a disconnect for him. And also, like and I think that's another thing that honestly it came up though. It was like priorities, like specifically within the realm of money, but also in the realm of relationships because I got to experience both at the same time. Um, It's like when it comes to my money, I prioritize electronics and like electronics is very high on my list. And then it's like video games, but I lump that in with electronics. And then it's like food. And then other stuff is like, I don't really care. So for me, it's like I would rather not spend a whole bunch of money on some things. And like the thing that triggered it, like we went to go see Megan. And when I landed, I was like, I want to go see Megan. And he was like, oh, like you could just stream that later. Like you don't have to go to the theater to see it. I was like, well, I want to go to the movies and I want to see it. And then he wanted to go see this other movie and we went to go see the other movie. And it fed this old narrative of like, well, we always do the thing that you want to do, but when it comes to the thing that I want to do, then it's like it gets pushed back, postponed, postponed. Like it's not a priority for you, and I have to operate off of your schedule because you're the one like working and doing all this other stuff. So it's like, it makes me feel some type of way. And like when we first met, like he was a lot busier than I was. And see, this is like the wildest part though. The wildest part is that like literally a week before that, we were talking about our friendship and like challenges that we had in the past. And we were like, remember when you got mad? I mean, it was a lot of like, like Patrick, like what was going on? What was happening? Like, remember when you got upset about this? And I would be like, yeah, well, remember when you did that? And we were just like talking about it. And then a week later, maybe it wasn't the full moon in Leo, but it didn't happen until that Sunday. And then the following Monday, it was just weird. And again, it was so weird because it was like I was upset, but I wasn't at the same time. Like there was such a big part of me that was like this doesn't even matter in the context of like, so like he's getting married this year. And so a lot of the times where I would have been able to see him and his family and his fiance out at the same time, like he's going to be too busy to like really hang out with me and he's going to be doing other stuff. So this is the only time I'm really going to get to see him this year. It's the only time we're really going to get to spend together. And so this whole time, not this whole time, but it's been easier for me to just like not sweat the small petty stuff because it's like this is the only time we can spend together. And like see that's where my brain went and that's the narrative that I used to run sometimes, not all the time. I've run that narrative before. I remember because I was staying at his place in I think 2019. It was either 2019 or 2020. And we had a falling out. And I remember at the time I was talking to Mimi and she suggested the same thing. And I was like, I think so. But something about that this time it didn't seem true. Because that's why it came to me. It was like, I know how much I've grown. I know how much I've healed. And it's not fair for me. I didn't finish the thought, but it's like, it's not fair for me to treat him like I am now rather than who I was when we first met and me not do the same for him. And so that's why I didn't feel like, um, hey, Zanoni stuff, like, how you doing? Hi, Renee. It didn't feel like that was the case this time. Um, and like I've also been able to like, did you really? Oh, maybe it's the movie. Maybe the movie just destroys friendships. But we came back. We honestly did come back stronger though. Because with the whole ticket situation, so I was like, I'm not booking the most expensive seat in the theater. Like, I want to go see this movie, but I don't need the best seat. Like, and if the difference is a row or two rows for me, that doesn't justify an extra like $3. Like, I know it's only $3, but $3 adds up, and this ain't worth it. But for him, and I didn't find this out until like after we had a whole other argument about it, to him, he was like, well, I've had these experiences in the past where I would like treat somebody or I would like pay for a ticket to this thing or that thing, and I would book like really good seats. And then when it came to the other person doing the same for me, like they would book really bad seats. And so for him, it was like a lack of reciprocity. And because, like, in my mind, like that was a difference between the two of us. Like he wants to get like not the best experience that he can get, but like if he's going, he wants to have like a good seat and a good experience. I'm like, I don't really like, I want to see the movie, but I don't really care about the seats. So I'm not going to spend more money. Like if it's not a video game and if it ain't going in my belly, like I don't care. So I'm going to spend less. But that's like where our disconnect was. And so at first, I was happy. At first, I was content. Well, well, that's what he was saying. Oh no, no, Steph. He's my best friend. Um, like a friendship, a platonic relationship, but not like a romantic relationship. Um, he was like, okay, so now I know like if you're gonna go, you're gonna book the cheapest seat, even if it's in the first row or the last row. I was like, no, like not like it's like not necessarily that, but like it was $1.50 and I'm paying for it $3 to sit like a row or two behind the other ones. Like it's still a good seat. And so like there was a breakdown in communication, but like usually I would be content with like I am who I am, he is who he is. I have my experiences, he has his experiences. But after he told me that for him, like it triggered a lack of reciprocity, I got an opportunity to be like, well, it doesn't matter to me, but he matters to me. So if it's important to him, I would rather spend the extra $3 or extra $10 because I don't want him to feel like I'm not reciprocating. And honestly, it was like it was about more than just this friendship. It's about how I want the dynamic of relationship to be. Because for a lot of the end of like last year was me like wanting something reciprocal in a way. Like me wanting to be able to do more, to give more, and to also like receive equivalent reciprocal in return. And so this was an opportunity. And I feel like it was like a whole bunch of thoughts that maybe it was more feelings than thoughts. Cause I feel like I didn't think about it too much, but it just felt like the right thing to do. Again, it's like I can't expect reciprocation and not reciprocate. And we have different like we place value on different things. But and I feel like my mom honestly like all of the conversations that I've had with her since I was probably a newborn baby, but let's say a child, it's just like, different people are different, but I don't want especially if it's something I'm indifferent about. Like if it was something that was like one of my core beliefs, like that's different. There's like I didn't want him to feel like I wasn't reciprocating. And it was like that's why it was like, it's not like me outgrowing him and it's not like it shouldn't be this whole like, well, maybe we shouldn't be friends. Like maybe this proves that, we're too different. And it's like, no. But going back to a thought I touched on earlier that I talked about with Kirsty, it's like last time I came, I had money and I was working, so I knew that more money was coming in, so I was comfortable. And I think that was the first time I visited where like I had a job and I was like working steadily. But this time, like I said, like I'm still because of how everything ended with my job, like I'm still taken care of. Like I can afford to be here and I can afford to spend a little bit of money. But without like having the job, something in me was like, I don't want to spend anything. And when I was talking to Kirsty, I was like, I don't want like to cut off any flows of like I don't want to take myself out of the energy of abundance or out of the frequency of abundance. I don't want to put myself back in a scarcity mindset. But also at the same time, I don't want to stress and tense this relationship because like I said, last time when I came and I had money, everything was good. And like he's the type of person where he's like, not every day, like, are we going out or whatever, but it's like there are times when he wants to do something nice. or he wants to go somewhere nice. And to his point, he doesn't want to hear me complaining about how expensive it is. Um, because we went to this one restaurant and I was looking at the menu. I'm like, oh my gosh, like this much for these prices for like this food. This is crazy. But then he was like, Patrick, like you literally spend the same amount of money where you are. And I didn't get it for a second, but then I was like, okay, wait, you know what? You're right. Plus, like they include, I'm pretty sure like taxes and everything is included. So, ooh, you did mention crocheting. I should pick up. I literally before I left pick up this big old bag of like yarn and needles. Um, Shifting very old energies in relationship to self and unconditional self. Yeah. What? All the best with the fast. I know I should probably. I don't know. Maybe not. Um. So yeah, that was that, and literally like Sunday and Monday, it was like the tensest. And like I said, last time I was here, it wasn't even that tense. That's why I was feeling so good. Like we've been good lately. Because he was like, "Well, maybe you should only come for like 2 weeks." And then I was like, "Well, he was right." Because 2 weeks, good. The start of that third week, but then again, like I said, it was like I honestly feel like I'm in this position now because of what I've been number one reading and because of number two what I want. I feel like I'm in this position now where it's like a lot of stuff I have to resolve within me. And that's also been a theme for the past year. Since the second half of 2022, more so of like me resolving the me things within me so that I'm not bringing me stuff into a relationship with somebody else. And so this was an opportunity, like being here in this situation was an opportunity for me to experience almost to like, and maybe this plays into the Thorn Giant portal. Um, it was an opportunity for the me that I am now to be put in a situation that I was in before, but to choose differently or to act differently or to actually process through things and to have conversations like after it happened. One thing that he's really, really good at is talking. He's really good at communicating and he's really good at like whenever something doesn't go right about like, like let's talk about it, let's figure it out so that we can show up for each other better and so that we know where we're coming from. Now, when I'm upset, I'm not always like the easiest to talk to, or like I just don't want to hear it, or it's either like I'm going to be argumentative, or I'm just going to be like, okay, okay, like, or I'm going to just like concede and give up, and like I'm just going to do this until I go home, and then whatever. Um, but now your hands cramp. Oh no! But you just did an audio diary about rebirth before this. Oh snap! So maybe it is. Well, I guess Leo can carry like a familial tribal energy. So maybe it's not thank you. I chose these today. I wore earrings like yesterday and today. And like that was it. But this morning I was like, I want to wear these. Um I was gonna wear a different pair, but anyway, thank you. Um yeah, so it was just like I don't know. And ever since then, ever since I made the decision and I've been following through with it in the past days, it's like it's helped me. Oh, that's what I was saying. I had an opportunity because of circumstances and situations. I had an opportunity to be who I am now, in a circumstance that more closely mirrors one that I would have experienced in the past. And that again, like that's like the irony of it. We were literally a few days before that, we were literally talking about all of this stuff that happened in the past, as if it were some distant memory that time had grown a certain fondness for within us. But at the time, it was like not that great. But that's what I took it as. I was like, right now, I have an opportunity to like just to decide on who I want to be. And it's like I didn't have that decision in the past. I didn't have that choice because of me being so deep in everything that I had experienced and me being so engrossed by my own feelings and me having that attitude of like, well, relationships are a two-way street. So if either one of us don't want to be in it anymore, it's over for whatever reason. It doesn't matter. Like we can talk or we cannot talk because it has to be mutual because it requires both parties. If one person decides that they're out, then like they could be out. But I was like, you know what? I was like, that is kind of messed up. I feel like I'm not a mean person. I just thought that he was being whatever because of whatever. And but at the same time, like it shouldn't take somebody being like I've experienced this in the past and this is why I feel this way. Like it shouldn't take that, but also at the same time I'm human, you know what I mean? So it's been like it was interesting. It was very interesting. It might be. But like I feel like that was like it was an energy that would come through reading sometimes of like, well, no, because before it was more like we had a choice or there was an option to like be your healed self and then like mentally go back into the past or be triggered by something and then like be who you are now, almost like be who you are then to like rewrite the story or whatever. But this one just was just like, and I feel like again, like it came out of nowhere. Like literally go to bed, everything is fine. Wake up the next morning for whatever reason, something that like it was kind of minor, not ultimate in the grand scheme of things, it was minor. But it played on this whole like there are things that I do for people when asked without question, but whenever it comes, it was reciprocity for me, but not necessarily with him. And that's what he said. He was like, like I haven't had this experience necessarily with you, but I've had this experience with other people. And this is how it makes me feel. Because it was like there are things that I'm willing to do for people, and I don't necessarily expect the same every time, but when it comes to something that I actually want, then like it would be nice. You know what I mean? It's one of those like I don't ask for much. And the one time like I do ask for something, it would be nice to get it. Whew. But anyway, that was the full moon in Leo for me. I'm actually like I'm glad that that experience happened. And like I said, he's really good at talking about stuff. So we talked about it. And then he was like, I would appreciate if you don't like hold on to stuff. Don't bottle it up. Or like don't let all of these things happen without you saying anything to the point where like the smallest spark and all of a sudden this whole tsunami of things that have been happening in the background is like coming out of your mouth. He didn't use those words exactly, but that's how it feels. Um, and I was like, you know what? That's a valid criticism. I'll do that. And then I actually had the chance to do it. And I feel like there's a part of me where it's like, if it doesn't matter, then it's like, I don't want to cause tension or create an argument like for a reason or like when it doesn't matter. And so it's one of those where it's like, it's insignificant and inconsequential as a standalone experience, but when they start to build up, then like, okay, I'm starting to notice a pattern here. And I'll be like, this is the pattern I'm noticing, da 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 da. If this is what this is gonna be, I'm letting you know right now I don't want it. I'm better off without it. If this is what this is gonna be. And he was like, when you get mad, sometimes you just like attack, 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 attack. I'm like, I'm not, I'm telling you. This happened here, that happened there. But again, to his point, if I don't say anything, it's not really fair. And that's why I feel like it's almost like this double-edged thing. Cause like I said, like if it doesn't matter or if I can realize in the moment that like it's inconsequential, what's the point of saying anything? The point is so that this doesn't happen. So I thank him for teaching me that lesson because there are things that I want, and I'd rather hammer out as many of the kinks now rather than like later. You know what I mean? If that makes sense. Cause like and like this is something that like I think we also, because we've experienced challenge in our friendship and because we've navigated it by talking to each other, because we both extend enough compassion to consider where the other person is coming from, it works for us. Like we come back better, we come back stronger, and then we don't have to talk about the same things over and over and over because we care enough about each other to like make effort to like not do the things that upset each other. And like I said, like for me, it was so like if it were something that's a core value of mine, that's one thing. But if it's something that doesn't really matter, like I said, I care more about him and our friendship than I do about me not wanting to spend an extra few dollars on this place or that place. Cause to me, I'm like, I'm not gonna spend more money just because it's premium. Like just because it's more expensive. You want me to spend more money? Like, no. But like that wasn't even the thing. But like that was almost the narrative that I had in my mind because I'm just used to him like spending money. So the Leo boot camp has been, and again, like I feel like it came out of nowhere. Like we were literally lightheartedly talking about all that stuff and like the whole like what makes it even whatever, like we went to lunch with his sister and her wife. And then she was asking questions about, like how we met and like how we became friends and stuff like that. And I was like, oh my gosh, like we were literally just talking about this. But somebody did, because she made the comment. She was like, if he wasn't engaged to his fiance, like those two would be getting married. And then when his fiance was here, she was like, his sister is right. Like if I weren't marrying him, you two, you two would be together. And I was like, to both of them, I was like, we would have a dysfunctional marriage. So I kind of put it out there too. Um, but again, like I said, like I feel like I've never, I don't want to say never, because there have been moments and there have been times with other people where I've been able to like decide who I want to be and where I've been able to make a value judgment about like, is this more like what's more important to me in this moment? Like the relationship or the person on the other side or this thing that I'm holding on to or these things that like this person didn't even do with him in this situation. Again, with everything, there was an opportunity for me again to like have choice where I would have been so triggered before that I wouldn't have it. And I think that like it explains because the whole time I'm like I'm not even that upset. Like it doesn't really matter, but at the same time, I couldn't like bring myself to just like not act like it didn't matter. I didn't realize that a solution would be to talk about it. I didn't realize it in the moment because I think I think honestly, it's like I said, it's like when I talk about something, the purpose of talking about it is to reach a resolution. But I feel sometimes I don't feel like the other person is like listening or like caring about how I feel. And when one of the worst things, like one of the quickest ways to end a relationship with me is to invalidate my feelings. Like that is for sure 100% the quickest way to get me to be like, okay, you're out of my life and I'm moving on. It's to invalidate my feelings because it's like if you don't care about how I feel, what's the point of being friends? What's the point of anything if you don't care about how I feel? Like, you know what I mean? And the same goes for other people. Or I try to treat other people the same way. So anyway, that was a whole and again, like I'm just so like it came out of nowhere. But I'm so grateful to have been able to work through that now. Because that's who I want to be. Like, and again, I feel like if it wasn't with this friend in particular, maybe it's because of our history, or maybe it's because of all of these preconceived notions about him that I have that made me so firmly believe what I believe or feel how I felt that I feel like if it were anybody else, I would have been more open because the assumption wouldn't have been there as strong. But even if you know somebody, like that's still, or even if you think you know somebody, like those conversations should still be there. And again, like it's not fair for me to expect to be treated as the person that I've grown and healed into and to not extend the same. So anyway, there's 37 minutes. That's not about the birds or what I'm gonna do pulling these cards, but I felt like I would share it nonetheless. So, bro. Oh, you should have seen me. And then Waterfall. See that card. I saw that card not too long ago. Thank you. Let me pull some on Waterfall. I'll pull me a few cards. I agree. Okay. Oh, all right. For the Waterfall, I feel like I know every single card in this deck, but I also realize that that's because I've seen the same 5 to 10 cards over and over. Ooh, the Three of Pentacles is at the bottom of the deck. Ooh, the Eight of Cups came out face down. Eight of Cups, Three of Pentacles. This feels, and then the Nine of Swords under that. Yeah, this feels like applying this to my situation. This was literally like, because again, the whole point is for me, like the whole reason why I made that choice was like, if I want reciprocity, I also have to give reciprocity. And so with the Three of Pentacles, it is like usually it's a task that is so big that it requires multiple people. But at its heart, it's just like it's people working together to make something happen. So, and then with the Eight of Cups, it's bringing me from like an old emotional state to a new one. And not only me, but also like our relationship, our dynamic. Because again, like now that's something that I know. And now also, I feel like in hindsight, it makes a lot of other things, it gives everything a different perspective. Because we, Because we were talking about there was a white elephant gift exchange thing that we were doing back when we worked together. And I told everybody I'm not participating, and I told him I'm not participating. I was sitting downstairs when they had the meeting. I was like, I don't get paid enough to spend money on y'all. I honestly don't. Like, not that I don't like y'all, but my bills right now are more than what I'm getting paid. So I'm not participating. Y'all can do what y'all want to do. I'm not going to be there. I don't know if people thought I was like, just kidding, LOL, but I was serious. And when it came time to do it, I told those people I'm not participating. And he was like, well, like you have this TV and you just got this new iPhone 10 and like you have all this stuff like you can spend $5 on somebody else. And that's when I was like, I got this stuff when I had money. Or it's like this was a priority to me at that time, so I made sure I could afford it. This right now, at the end of the year, when the money well has dried, it's not a priority to me. But now that it's like, I wonder if that was almost for him. Because I mean, if it were me, I would be like, oh, so like you don't care enough about other people to like participate, to inconvenience yourself like minor league. It's only $5. And you can't even do that when you have all of this. Like I see what you care about. And honestly, would he have been wrong? No. He would not have been wrong, because like I said, it wasn't my priority. But then again, like last year, that's why I feel like 2022, like when I pulled the card, the Lafruma for what 2022 was, I got Thorn, the giant portal. And like throughout the year, I could tell there were these different, like a cluster of months, or there were these different themes that would come in through different parts of the year where I would work on resolving things from like a previous Patrick, and like reaching the point or being conscious enough in that moment to compete with the trigger, to actually have a choice to make, or to make a decision and to choose to do something different. So like that was like, because we did a few things as coworkers, and I was glad to participate. Again, I think it was partially because external circumstance wise, I had more money. I could afford it. But I think part of what being here right now was like teaching me is that Perth. Okay, I'm gonna get some cards. Thank you. Hola, Lila. Hola, hola. Welcome back. For the Perth, I feel like Perth, I think Feyor had the name of Perth in the first edition. And I remember Reem drank it. I can't remember if I drank that one too. I remember she did. I think I did drink that one. And I think Russ baked it into bread. I can't remember if that was the first room she drank. I don't remember. Oh, the Page of Pentacles with the Emperor at the bottom of the deck for Perth. Knight of Cups under that Emperor. Isn't Perth? Is Perth? Um, Pear Tree. It doesn't Cosmic Surge. Yeah, there it is. I was like, is Perth the one with Cosmic something on it? It is a Cosmic Surge. Oof, thank you. That I feel like there's been so much going on. I'm so bad with keeping up with the chat. Um, but yeah, this stuff, like whenever I go through something, I try to come on and talk about it, because for me, like it's multifold. One reason is like I know that when it comes to certain things, I speak fairly strongly, or the messages come through fairly strongly. So it's like I like to like showcase or to talk about to show the stuff that I am actually doing. It's not just like me pulling cards and then not actively at least trying to apply these things to my own life. I think number two, it's just like I think it's important to have a better view of I think it's important for me to show a better view or a more complete view of my journey as a whole. So like if you you click back, you'll see me at all kinds of states going through all kinds of things in my life. That again, I feel like since the end of 2020, specifically like October, November, December, part of September, October, November, December, it's been this massive like shifting. I think Zanoni said earlier something about like the old energies like cycling out because that's what it's been. It's been like me, maybe it's like realizing how much certain environments and certain circumstances in my life encouraged me to be a certain way. And so because I almost like it's like because I always responded the same to the same prompts, it created a certain habit and a pattern. But then it's like, again, it's like because, like, and that was like my darkest night happened October 2018. I started 2019 with the intention that anything and everything that I have to do to get my life together, I was going to do it because I knew if I ever experienced anything like that again, I would not survive it. And like for the most part, I knew the things that I was running away from, and I knew like how some things interacted with other things where it made me think in certain ways or why I believe certain things. And like not only was it time for me to not think or feel or respond in those ways anymore, it was just like I don't want this. And so like again, like the end of last year was very like not even the end of last year, like 2022 as a whole. For me, I know like I was in my Saturn return. So my Saturn is in Aquarius. Hey Holly, how you doing? My Saturn is in Aquarius, so like it was a Saturn return for me. But I'm so grateful for my Saturn return because again, it really showed me that like there are certain ways that I don't have to be. And maybe before Saturn fully enters Pisces, it's just like it's trying to I think it's a yes and a no. So like they separate the cards into yeses and nos. Don't ask me how they did it. It seems like they alternate within the suit. So the first one was a no yes, and the second one is also a no yes. Um, but yeah, 2022, my Saturn return, and again, it's like for what I'm asking for what I want, and for what I desire, I literally can't be the person that I was. For me, like happiness was my biggest trigger. I literally made conscious choices and decisions to not be happy. Like there were things that I worked for, things that I pursued, things that I really wanted, only to not take the opportunities when I was presented them. So for me, it's like I literally cannot be who I was and get what I want at the same time because who I was actively made choices and decisions to not get what I want. And if it doesn't make sense to you, it's because Patrick doesn't make sense. Stubborn to a fault. For why? For what? Ooh. I need to it's like it's so much. I think also like ooh, Ace of Wands. I feel like I'm in between like there's like it's time for me to do certain things and it's time for me to think about certain things and that's honestly like so one of the jobs that I applied for I didn't get. And at this point, like, it's not that big of a deal. It also confirmed because, like, that was one of the reasons why I didn't want to come. I was like, oh, I'm waiting to hear back because, like, what if I get an interview? What if I get this? I come over here, I find out I didn't even get an interview. I didn't get the job. They do a lot of internal hiring. Also, like, technically, I am kind of overqualified for the position. Um, but still, too, there is this vision or a goal of something that I want to do. I wanna say far into the future, but honestly, that could be tomorrow because of how opportunity works. Um, but there's somewhere that I wanna be, and I'm not too sure that that job would get me any closer to that. The problem is and it's not really a problem, like, I have an engineering degree, and I want to do engineering, but I feel like there's a fair amount of, like, science that would be more of like I feel sciences would make more sense. And it's not that engineering and sciences are that vastly different. Um, but yeah, it's something that at the end of last year started making more and more sense. See you, Steph. I hope you enjoy the rest of your day. Yeah, so that's been and again, like I feel like everything was so good, so flowy. My word for this year is also expedition. So my word last year was allow. I was talking with my journey buddy, and we both realized how our words play off of each other. And I think expedition was a little ambitious. I think expedition was it's very ambitious, but it's also what I want. But it's gonna require a lot of like the integration of 2019 and or was that 2020? I think 2020 was integrate because 2019 was all of the you already know this, you've already been through this, you've already healed this. It's gonna require a lot of the integration and it's gonna require the allowance that 2020 got me. And what was 2021? 2021 was unbelievable because I wanted to end the year in a way that like I couldn't even conceive of at the beginning of the year. 2022 was unbelievable, honestly. But then putting the allowance on top of that, I feel like it all culminates in expedition. And again, I chose the word expedition because of the adventuring, like trailblazing, pioneering aspect to go on an expedition, but because of also like velocity and momentum and speed, like expediting something, like expedited shipping. So it's like it's an adventure at light speed. Because when I was thinking of the word, it was like it had the momentum of something like a train, but it had like a fluid flexibility in it, like switching tracks, going wherever, whenever. Expedition was the word that ended up coming, and it was like, whoo, it's quick. But yeah, so thank you, Zanoni and Kirsty, for pulling me some of the from cards. Um, so the birds. So as part of the resolution, to me wanting to show my friend how much I actually like appreciate everything. And that's another thing. Like he called me out and he was like, you know, I feel like I do all this stuff for you and you don't even really appreciate it. Cause in my mind, it's like there's stuff that he was already gonna do, but he just includes me. So it doesn't shift the experience at all. And so I was like, the same thing. Like, if this is what I'm gonna like, I'm not, because in my mind, I was like, you're treating me like I'm getting premium seats and I'm putting you back in, like, we both in the peanut gallery together. Like, I'm right next to you. What do you mean? So that's a little bit why I was like, I don't like you brought me into your experience at the level that you experience, and I'm doing the same. I'm bringing you into the experience at the level that I want to experience this. Um, and again, that was a little bit of the not only the disconnect, but again, like after we had that conversation, it's like I do appreciate him in my life. He is my best friend, and as much tension and drama as we have sometimes, he's a Libra, so that makes sense. He's a Libra, and that's what he said. He was like, I would appreciate it if you tell me. I was like, okay, I can do that. Because I think at this point, like sometimes I don't even say thank you, but it's not. I feel like it's not because I expect it. It's just that like it's hard or it's easy to forget because I know who we are. So like when yeah, it makes total sense to me. Um, it's some other stuff that it's like energies that have been popping up for forever, and it was me in my head going back and forth between this and that, and it's like it's just time. So thank you for that. What was the other one? 14, Water Go Fall. I don't remember. I think Kirsty did say what number it was. I don't remember what number it was. Oh, I missed so much of the chat. Um, yeah, it was just like you are important to me. I want to reciprocate. So we went to lunch and I paid for everything. I've been paying for everything lately. But like I said, it's like I can afford to. Just because I'm not like I'm in a better position than I was in the past and everything is going to be fine. I don't have to be so tight-fisted just because 54 and 14, a difference of 40. That's a difference of 40, and Zanoni Snowflake pulled number 40 Wordhamer for the collective, by the way. Because I just scrolled up and she pulled number 40. It's a difference of 40. That's interesting. Um, no, it is the birds. Um, so yeah, because I'm like, you're important to me. So I can treat like I want to do this for you because it's important to you. Like, yeah, I don't really care. Like, I'm fine going to McDonald's, but he don't want to eat McDonald's. um. So anyway, we went to lunch. We come back. We're walking back across and we were talking about something I don't remember. And we're walking across this little bridge. Like, there's this little. I mean, I'm on Canary Wharf, so there's like little bridges over little streams and rivers and lakes or whatever, oceans out here. We were crossing one and overhead. Eve, good morning. Drive safe. What time is it? 9:47. Is it really 8:47 Central right now? That's wild. I mean, I only got 3 days left, so I'll be back on US Central Standard Time pretty soon. But we were walking back, we were passing this bridge. It wasn't a huge bridge, it was like a walkway that crossed some water. And we hear above super loud these geese honk. It was three geese, and they came in and they like landed in the water. They did the whole like you can see the water, like whatever, and they landed. I was like, that was loud and weird. We come back, like we're hearing crows, we're hearing the seagulls like loud. We passed by a store for a DHL and we go in and he asks and he was like, okay, like, can you drop this off for me? I'm like, sure. So we come back, I walk back, I take the package, I drop it off, I get these white chocolate Twixes because I'm like, I haven't seen white chocolate. Like, I don't really want dessert right now because I got dessert when we went to go eat and I'm still like full. But I was like, I can eat it later. I picked up the white chocolate Twix. I walk out of the store and like a crow lands right in front of me. Not like right in front of me. It's a fair like within 6 to 10 feet. It like as soon as I walk out, I turn the corner, it lands. And then it's like on the ground. I walked by it, it didn't fly away. I mean, it's probably like the pigeons, they're used to people. And it's just like on the ground cawing so loud. And I'm like, and that's it. That's like literally the birds. Like the geese came in and landed on the water. The crow landed right in front of me. Like as soon as I come out, I turn my head because I'm going in that direction. It lands. Um, and that's the whole birds thing. What are the birds doing? I don't know. They're landing, which is like that's kind of a gorgeous energy. Maybe I'll pull cards about that. Maybe that's symbolic of a lot of the things that I've been wanting the Wheel of Fortune to. Oh, look, the sun at the guy. Love that energy. Uh, ooh, I'm Gibbs, so I don't know how long I'll be waiting. Insanity is doing the same thing over and over, expecting different results. Excuse me. And I know that happened one day. I was going into work, and like a bird landed right in front of me. And also, like yesterday, I woke up and I've been trying, like, I can't even get the same angle. But like, I woke up and there were two crows like perched right in front of the thing. So I'll get two sets of cards for the geese and for the crow. 3 geese, 1 crow. I'm gonna miss the seagulls. For the geese, the honks. The star flipped over in the deck. This is for the geese. And they landed in the water. For the crow. Oh, and I was like, maybe this is like all of the things that I want the Wheel of Fortune to bring into my life. Maybe with the birds, they're like it's landing, it's settling. And the star is a card of wish fulfillment. Ooh, ooh. For the crow. It's because I don't have to deal with him. The crow turns over the 2 of Pentacles. This 2 of Pentacles is interesting. Bottom of the deck is the Fool. This 2 of Pentacles is interesting to me because, like, usually it's like this either or balancing, but with the sail on the boat in the back, it's like, oh, look, there's a constellation of stars with the star card. Anyway, it's like it's aligning them both. Like it's not an either or thing, it's a both and when we reach a both and, then the ship comes in a lot quicker, or then the ship can dock when it's a both and, because that's how it's like presenting itself. That's how I first saw it. This 2 of Pentacles also came out in between the 10 of Pentacles and the 10 of Swords. So another way to read that, because my initial like what this was like, am I gonna keep being friends with my friend 10 of Pentacles, or is this gonna be the end of our friendship, 10 of Swords? But ultimately it was like there are things within my own life and my history of experiences that I have to 10 of Swords in order to be in a 10 of Pentacles energy. There are things that I have to get over and let go to make lasting, impactful relationships. And not only does it affect relationships, but it's also like it affects the things that I pursue in career and stuff like that too. It was like, because again, it was this dynamic between like money and a relationship, and how the lack of money or a perceived finiteness got me to not only limit my own experiences, but to limit experiences that I have with others as well. And unbeknownst to me, it had me not reciprocating in ways that, for me, I just chalked it up to like if I can't afford to and somebody else can, it's just the different states that we're in. Like, yeah, if you can afford this, you can afford it. If I can't afford it, I can't afford it. Like, I can't do any more than what I have the means for. But it's almost like that's literally not the point, because again, that finiteness isn't, it doesn't apply. And then again, that gets into the Page of Pentacles and the Emperor that came out for the Perth that Zanoni drew. And again, for me, like, I know what that means. I'm not gonna tell you, but I know what it means for me. So Stankness. Okay, let's see. What's the stankness? What wasn't the stankness? I feel like that whole thing was a test. Full moon in Leo. Hmm. Full moon in Leo was the stankness. So what I'm gonna do today, at an hour and 10 minutes into this video, I'm on holiday for the next 2 days. I've been here since January 24th, and I leave on February 13th. So it'll be like 3 weeks that I've been in the country. And it's interesting because I feel like I do less and less every time I'm here. I guess that's not true, because I met Kirsty the last time I was here, and I got to see Kirsty again this time. But like, as far as sightseeing around London, like, I've made it out maybe like 2 to 3 days a week. But this weekend, we'll do something. Stankness. Was that 62? Did you say it was number 62? Yeah, number 62, stankness. It's the test. What else is it? Yes. We went to go see Patan, and then we went to go see Megan, and they're like, have you pushed the green button? Visit Northern Ireland. I'm like, I want to. I want to. North Ireland, Ireland, like, I want to be there. Okay. Stankness. Ooh. I'm going to pull these two. They jumped up, but they didn't come out. The 8 of Swords and the 6 of Swords. You know what I love about these? There's an energy of a trust here. For the things that I can't see, for the things that I don't know, am I willing to be guided? Am I willing to trust my intuition to move forward even if I don't see the way? I'm trying to. I feel like I'm doing a lot better now. Bottom of the deck is the Lovers. All about choice, all about decision. And maybe this is like, yeah, I've been making the right choices and decisions, even when I get triggered or even when I don't know. But again, I feel like, honestly, with like in 2022, one of the things that helped me out the most in my Saturn return, one of the things that was the most pivotal and important and beneficial has been the relationship that I've cultivated with myself. Honestly, because I feel like there's this level of like accountability that I could hold myself to, but there's also this understanding. And it's an understanding for where I am, what I've been through, where I want to go, that I didn't have the capacity to give myself before. I think before, it was a lot of like, I would disregard the things that I was going through. I would disregard my experiences. I would disregard my challenges. I would disregard how all of the challenging and difficult things that I was going through in life and just be like, I should be here. I should be doing this. I should be doing the other thing. I should be so much farther than where I am. And there was like no compassion, no compassion at all for the self. And I had the audacity to think that, oh, it's because of my mom that I never feel like what I do is good enough. Nothing that I ever do is good enough. I wasn't living up to the standards that I was setting for myself because of the lack of compassion. And it was so interesting because when I went and had my cataract surgery, and even when I've talked to other people, they'll be like, "Oh my, like you were doing all of that while you were going through that? Like that's amazing. I can't even imagine." But it was something that I couldn't even see to recognize or appreciate while I was going through it because I was always short. But yeah, like, and then there's the death card, death and the lovers. Um, but yeah, it helped me so much, so much. The relationship that I've cultivated with myself. Honestly, technically, like with the shadow, there was a lot of like, and for me, that happened March 2022, 2020. It happened March of 2020 when I had that conversation with my shadow. And it completely changed everything. Because now it's like my shadow isn't this part of me that's like working against me to try to sabotage whatever. But also because of that, I can't just like dump stuff onto my shadow. I can't just like offload all of this stuff into this subconscious part of my mind and do my best to like never think about it. I can't do that and expect for my shadow to keep pace with everything else at the same time. So it's really changed the game for me. And it, like I said, it was so pivotal and so important in navigating so many of the challenges that my Saturn return in 2022 brought. It's now one of my greatest assets. And I feel like my shadow is just as invested in getting me where I want to go as the rest of me. So I'm gonna timestamp this real quick. I'll say full moon Leo debrief / life 0000 and then 11400 will be the 567. I'm gonna do 567 of Pentacles of Pennies. So excuse me. I have like I think I'm like 5% Irish. One of my several great grand uncles was 3/4 Cherokee and a quarter Irish. I was like, what? And then I got my DNA done and it shows up like 5%. I was like, okay. The Hermit and the Queen of Pentacles. This is like one of my favorite Hermit cards. I looked at it for the first time, I think the last time I was live. Because this hermit has found a light within himself and he doesn't have a cage. There's no lantern. That's why I like it. So the Five of Pentacles is traditionally it's this card of like needing help but not asking for it, or needing help and not receiving it from the people who should give it. It's like two people who are in need of food and shelter and care outside of a church, and the church would take them in if they knock. The Six of Pentacles is when we receive that thing that we needed from the five. But there's a like teach a man to fish or teach a person to fish or give a person fish. The Seven of Pentacles is when we invest what we were given at the six in order for it to multiply and to sustain a living. So at the seven, like we start to fish for ourselves if we're taught to fish at the six. So I feel like when this first came to me, I had a better idea of what all of this is going to be. But the five will be something that I don't want to say something that we're lacking. an absence of something. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to, the moon at the bottom of the deck, the Knight of Pentacles at the top of the deck. Do the same thing for the 6 and then the same thing for the 7. And we'll just see what comes out. So the Tower and the 4 of Cups for the 5 of Pentacles. So we have the Moon, the Knight of Pentacles, the 4 of Cups, and the Tower. At the 5 of Pentacles, I mean, the 4 of Cups with the 5 of Pentacles is like pretty easy. With the 4 of Cups, traditionally, it's us being presented something. It's almost like us being given what we're asking for, but we're unaware of the presentation, or we're so unenthused that we don't care, or our priorities are on something else, not knowing that the very thing that we're asking for, the divine is bringing us in. So if the 5 of Pentacles is not getting or not receiving something, with the 4 of Cups motivating it, that's like easy. With the moon at the bottom of the deck, I feel like it speaks to things that we're not even aware of, or it speaks to things that we have no capability of being able to see unless and or until we see it. Hey, David, good morning. How are you doing? The Knight of Pentacles at the top of the deck. See, with the Knight of Pentacles at the top of the deck, it's like we've been making a conscious effort to do something, or we've been making steady progression towards something. Even in this one, it's like it's not even a mountain, but because the person is sitting, this Ace of Cups seems a lot more distant than it actually is. Because if the person could stand up, they could just reach and grab it. I think there's also this like, it's a little bit of comfort zone ish energy. But it's like playing small because that's all we know to do. And maybe that's why the moon is at the bottom of the deck. And guess what's on the tower? The 3 geese that landed. The 3 geese that were honking and that came in and just landed on the water. The tower is something that completely shifts our view. It's like the view of ourselves, the view of others, and our view of the world. The world that is the product of us and other people and our interactions and choices. So it's like we were making steady progress in a way, and we couldn't see any other way to go about doing something. And so it's like we're not asking for help, or we're limiting ourselves, not even knowing that we're necessarily doing that. But in all of the steady effort, we reach a point. Welcome back, Steph. And all of that effort, we reach a point. I feel like we kind of reach a point where we do something that we've never done. Or we reach a point, it feels like it's self motivated, and that completely changes how we view everything. It almost feels like it almost feels like how we define old, right? Like when you're 5 years old, 20 might be old. And when you're when you're like 13, 14, 15, like 30 might be old. But when you get in, like, for me personally, and I know it's the same with other people, it's like the older you get, the more you realize, or like the further back that definition of old gets pushed, like old. And it's almost like that energy with the Knight of Pentacles. It's like the more you were doing, it's almost like your everything was expanding the whole time. Every step brought you closer than you realized. But it's not until you reach this certain distance that everything gets put in a certain perspective that it's really like, oh my gosh. And like that's the Tower. Queen of Swords at the bottom. I'll give it one more shuffle. Bliss and Godmouth. Ooh. Ooh. I'll take that. Straight from the mouth of divine. Straight from the mouth of the divine. Bliss. I receive it. I will allow it. That is fine. Pulling that into my expedition frequency. That's part of the adventure. Bottom of the deck is still the Queen of Swords after all that shuffling. Top of the deck is the Hermit. So we go from the Knight of Pentacles to the Hermit, from the Moon to the Queen of Swords. There is a certain clarity here. And I think, I don't know if you can see it, but that's a crescent moon. Oh, yeah, you can. That's a crescent moon. At the Six of Pentacles, that's a lot of clarity. This is a lot of clarity coming from this to this. Like, what? Let's see. Looking for the Six of Pentacles. I put the Five of Pentacles back in the deck. It's in between. Oh my gosh. It's in between the Eight of Wands and the Knight of Wands. The difference between the Four of Cups and the Tower and the Eight and Knight of Wands, like that is so fast. And then the High Priestess, the Empress, the Hierophant, Four of Wands, Ace of Pentacles, Nine of Cups, the Fool. After that, gorgeous. Oops. Six of Pentacles is in between the Ten of Wands and the Knight of Cups. So we go from the Four of Cups and the Tower to the Knight of Cups and the Ten of Wands. The Six of Pentacles, again, it's where we're given whatever we were missing, whatever we were lacking at the Five, whatever we weren't seeing. And it's interesting that the Five of Pentacles now was in between the Eight and the Knight of Wands, because that's so much like speed, so much velocity, and also so much like, it's like, there's a seagull. It's like a wildfire almost, where it just like spreads. And there's so much kindling. And it, like, I feel like it's like if you've been holed up somewhere, if you've been held back in a way for like, it was just 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1 hour, 23 minutes, 45 seconds. It was 12:34 in the restaurant. I remember because I was like, and my friend was like, 1, 2, 3, 4. I was like, it's 12:34 because he had a meeting. Anyway, what was I talking about? I feel like I've been doing so decent at focus this whole time. The wildfire. Oh, it's like when you've experienced like stagnancy or whatever for so long, where it's like when you finally experience freedom, you just kind of sort of like go crazy, where you do like anything and everything that you couldn't do. You know, it's almost like, I guess, when you reach that rebellious phase where you're like, I've been told all my life that I can't do this and I can't do that. Well, now I'm going to go out and do all of it. No one can tell me what to do. It doesn't have to be like that extreme. Um, but it's just like it's that energy. In the absence of pressure or in the absence of a suppressive force, things naturally come to the surface. The Six of Pentacles is interesting because, like I said, it can be that sometimes, like, teach a person to fish or provide fish for a person energy. At the Six of Pentacles, we receive, but we're not necessarily, I don't want to say entitled to. I don't know why entitled came to my mind, but we're not necessarily guaranteed the same offer every single time. So it's also an opportunity for us to take what we were given to do something so that it can replicate and so that we can be provided for in the future. It's the gift that keeps on giving if we sort of allow it to. So I think now with the Knight of Cups and the Ten of Wands, it's almost like after all of that, now the fire of the Eight of Wands and the Knight of Wands, all of that like excitement and like I'm gonna go do this, like being led by a childlike wonder at all of everything that the world has to offer now. Now that you can see, now that like you can literally see, and now that you have the mental capacity to account for things that you couldn't account for in the past. And I think with the owl here, there are still some things that are, it's like it's not a complete and total understanding, but it's like a working um it's a working intuition where it's like you apply your knowledge and your logic where you can, and then like um then it's like when your intuition is like the stuff that you know the stuff that you don't know. For anything that you don't know, you go to the divine, you use your intuition, you're provided enough information to keep moving. But it feels like with this Ten of Wands, it reaches a point where it's not that it becomes a burden, but it's almost like, is there anything more to life than simple pleasure? And I think that's where the Knight of Cups is coming in. With the Knight of Cups, it's almost like, okay, well, now that I've had my fun, I want something to mean something. I want to do something impactful or memorable or something that truly matters to me, to the world, whatever your cup is telling you. If your cup is telling you to like be a person who gives back or to leave the world in a better place that you found it or to do this for like the homeless or to do that for the underrepresented, whatever, wherever your cup is leading you to, guiding you towards for like fulfillment, that's the Knight of Cups. Because while satisfying one's pleasures is like fun or whatever, it's a question of like is there not anything more to life than just that? And I think that brings in the Hermit. Now it's bringing in like this soul searching energy. And we had the Knight of Pentacles before, which was making that steady progress. Now with the Hermit, it's this question of like, again, it almost pulls on that like why? Like what's the bigger purpose? What's the bigger goal? Like, is there not more to this? And that's something that you have to discover within yourself. I think this Queen of Swords is really beautiful in this position. I think it's beautiful from like an outside perspective. Another thing that I've been seeing a lot is the conversation of fate versus free will. And it's been this conversation of like fate and free will rather than fate versus free will. Um, and so I say that because it's almost like the reason and the purpose is something for us to discover. I don't know if it's necessarily something that spirit can tell us. Obviously, and that's another like I went to go see the movie and in the trailers it was like this broken up. There was this one trailer that was broken up in between other trailers. So like they would play the first few seconds, another trailer. The next few seconds, another trailer. But it was this like, have you ever been drawn to something and you didn't know why? Like, did it speak to the soul? Like, why were you drawn to this? It's almost that energy. And again, it feels like it's something to be found within the self. Because whatever this is, it's related to like free will. Whatever this is, it's how we choose to live our lives almost more so than like the thing that we should do, if that makes any sense. Mm. Ooh. I feel I feel like there's been like so much profound wisdom and everything shared in the chat, and I've just been like not even. I have read Jonathan. I read Jonathan Livingston Seagull in the seventh or eighth grade, and then at some point last year, um, I revisited it and I watched a reading of it on YouTube. And it was probably because of all of the seagulls that I've been seeing, but I actually thought about that. I think last week at some point, like the thought kind of like crossed my mind, and I thought about it for like a few seconds, and then I was off to the next thing. See, and that's what I love about this. So the Queen of Swords is sitting with this crescent moon, understanding so much of what was just completely shrouded in mystery before. But there's still some that remains. Again, it's like we're not necessarily meant to know everything. The Queen of Swords knows enough, and she knows who to ask when she doesn't know. But then it's like there's this moon and or the sun and the hermit. The sun is in the hermit again. It's that like the light that you shine in the world, the warmth that you bring. The Seven of Pentacles, which is the Four of Wands. I think Seven of Pentacles, which is the cultivation of this energy. See, I almost don't want to do the seven. I'll pull the cards, but because after the last one, it's like it's something that we all find within ourselves. We find our light and then we share it. But again, it's not in the glass lantern of a more traditional hermit. Oop, who was that? Oh gosh. Well, two cards flipped over. I saw the Page of Cups in one, and then the Page of Pentacles in the other. Page of Cups, Page of Pentacles flipped over in the deck. And the Page of Cups, this is like the heart song of the Page of Cups singing out to the world, to the universe. This is the world. I want to say it's like it's the response. If that makes sense. It's like when we're in this energy, this is how the universe, the world, how life responds. The moon has been I haven't even been looking at the yeses and nos. Okay. Bottom of the deck is the Nine of Pentacles. Top of the deck is the Two of Wands. Is that the World? It is. Looking for the Seven of Pentacles. So now the Five of Pentacles is in between the Knight of Swords and the King of Wands. Right after the King of Wands is the Queen of Wands. What I like about this is at the Six of Pentacles, there was that question of like, is there not anything more to life? Rather than fulfilling one's own carnal based desires. Now it's the Knight of Swords and this King of Pentacles. The Knight of Swords heavily focused on movement after this Queen of Swords hermit energy. And this is moving with the knowing that puts that energy. Now it's in the King of Pentacles. Like that's the thing that we have to give to the world. Is that the thing that we've been missing or the thing that we've been looking for? In a not too strange way, it would make sense. In a not too strange way, it would also be what a lot of people are looking for. I have this many cards left, by the way. There's the Eight of Pentacles. The Six of Pentacles is in between the Ten of Pentacles and the Ace of Wands. I have this many cards left, and we're looking for the Seven. This feels like at the Seven of Pentacles. It feels like this is I mean, I guess it's not a surprise because that literally came out with all of what the Six of Pentacles was before. Maybe playing off of that King of Wands with the Knight of Swords. This is like, oh, I had it. I had it. The Ace of Wands is the Ten of Pentacles. Like creating something that lasts or creating something of impact or something of importance is this Ace of Wands now. So rather than the Ace of Wands being that, it's like it's an elevation of, I don't want to, it's like it's an elevation of, no, it's a change in what brings us pleasure. Which again, like it makes sense. If you find the thing that fulfills you truly, then you're gonna probably get some satisfaction out of that. You might pursue it more and more and more. And then that takes on a whole force of its own. Seven of Pentacles. Oh my gosh. Look, this is the last card. So the King of Cups, the Seven of Pentacles, and the Ten of Cups. And then the Eight of Wands and the Ace of Pentacles on the other side. The last five cards right here. And that's where our Seven of Pentacles was. Third from last. See, there's this interesting dynamic that's happening between fire and earth and water and earth. Because here it's like with that, what was it? The Ten of Pentacles, Ace of Wands, fire and earth. It's like it's this. Oh, it's like you're good. I mean, I'm bad with keeping up with the chat, so I apologize. But I mean, you're good. You're good. Um, and this is an energy that's been coming. It's like it's becoming the easiest way to say it. It's like it's becoming a force of nature. There's something that this hermit finds that when it cultivates it, when it invests in it, and when it grows it, it becomes a force of nature. It becomes a part of nature. It interweaves itself with natural order. And again, it's that energy of like, oh, I didn't even pull the cards out. Let me pull the cards out before I forget. I've already, oh my gosh, did I already? Oh no, they're right here. I was like, did I already misplace them? No, I don't want to lose them. But that's literally like the top and the bottom. Nine of Pentacles, Two of Wands. It's been this energy of like, when we're not selfish, when we're not self centered, when our abundance doesn't come at the expense of other people, but when our abundance is intertwined, it's like when our success is intertwined with the success of other people, then the universe conspires to make us successful, to make others successful, to spread that energy. It's like being a touch point for the frequency of abundance on planet Earth. But it's a different abundance than we've had or than what has thrived before. It's almost like an abundance of old was all about a Four of Pentacles, a more traditional Four of Pentacles, like how much can you like, oh, what's that? I want to say stockhold, but it's not that. It's like how much can you get? How much can you keep? How much of that wealth can you isolate and cut off from other people to make sure it doesn't flow out? It's very like Theo in the not greatest way, that like hemmed in sort of abundance. But there's something that's so this about this energy. It's like that's why like this Ace of Pentacles with the Eight of Wands. That's like why it's so quick, or that's why it's so much. That's why it's so Ace of Wands, Ten of Pentacles. Like it's I don't know, it's like it's almost like Gaia is ready to go through. I mean, Gaia has been going through a certain change. Not only Gaia, but like the collective heart of humanity is ready for a certain change. And so, for those who are aligned to that, like Gaia itself, the collective potential of humanity itself will like push and add momentum to you. And again, it's like now we also have this like water and earth. The only thing that's not here is air. but we've already seen the Queen of Wands before we like reach this point. And it's almost like it's due to the elemental property of Earth itself. I just saw a seagull go by and I was like, did it land? It's almost due to the elemental property of Earth itself because Earth thrives in the presence of fire, water, and air. You need all of those things to have a flourishing, abundant Earth. Earth can't really thrive without, I mean, Earth finds a way. Like if you go into the desert and there's not a lot of water, you have cacti, you have succulents, you have things that have adapted. I mean, it's Earth. Things adapt all over the place. But to be like in a lush, verdant, it's like all elements need to be present. Oh, it's sorry. I said the 10 of cups, it's the 9 of cups. I've made that mistake with this card before. The 9 of cups and the king of cups. We see like this rainbow here. We see like it's like these hearts are coming out of the cup to form the same rainbow. The page of cups here with the song that goes out into the world, out into the universe, bringing things into alignment and resonance with it. And there's something like, where is this king of cups? This is like, oof, this is beautiful. This is beyond gorgeous. And it's only the 7 of pentacles. Like, this isn't even the 10 of pentacles. Like, this isn't even the end. This is literally the beginning. The 9 of pentacles at the bottom. So we've gone from the moon to the queen of swords to the 9 of pentacles. I think this, and then there's the bird that's landed on her hand. I think this is an energy. It's like, this is us having this practical understanding of all of these other forces, the things that we didn't see with the moon, the things that the queen of swords were reaching, that the queen of swords was reaching a fundamental understanding on. With the 9 of pentacles, it's like putting it all to, it's integrating all of it, it's putting it all to use in a way that puts you in that position. With the 2 of wands, again, it's like there was this progress that we were making with the Knight of Pentacles. Then we reach this point where we go inside and we ask ourselves, like, what truly matters to us? What can we do? And the 2 of wands is literally going out there and like offering it to the world. But also there's almost this energy where it's like these birds have given this person the world. Like the world is in her hand. And I feel like that speaks to that trust that we have formed with the divine, where we really become like co-creators. Like that's how much trust we're given when our hearts are wide open, when we're caring, when we're compassionate, when we realize that abundance, it's just like a fertile earth. It grows and grows and it spreads. It's not meant to be solitary or isolated. And so she's literally given the world like her heart's desires, anything. It's like anything she could possibly want, everything her heart desires. And it's this King of Cups energy. The King of Cups actually came out. It was Temperance, the King of Cups, the King of Wands, and the Chariot. That was on this channel, right? No. Never mind. I think it might have been on the other channel, but that's fine. Um, Emotional clarity on purpose. That makes me happy. I'm glad I went live today. So I was texting my mom this morning and she was like, "Oh, your brother made a comment about you not being live as much lately." I was like, "What?" And then I was like, "I guess I haven't been live as much lately." So I was like, "Well, let me go live today." This is gorgeous. And again, like this is only the 7. I guess I don't have to minimize or whatever because this by itself is like huge and monumental enough. Maybe it's just it's like hitting the moon again almost. Cause it's like this is an energy. Honestly, I would say like this is the king of pentacles. A king or a queen of pentacles with what this energy can do or with where this is. But it's clarifying the 7 of pentacles. Like there's so much more than just this. What? Mm. I think this 8 of wands and ace of pentacles, this is also the speed at which the world changes. The more that we realize, like the easiest way to say it, the simplest way to say it is like the more that we realize that we're not in competition with one another, the faster, the quicker we get to this point where literally like the whole planet is thriving. And even humanity is thriving in a way that is non-parasitic. You know what I mean? It's been almost 2 hours. The Knight of Wands, Judgment, and the Sun. And the Sun. The Knight of Wands I put on top of the 5 of Pentacles pile. Judgment went on top of the 6. The Sun went on top of the 7. This is um I think this might be the resolution of all of these, more or less, or what we gain from these. Oh, you're on Australian time. Australia time. Australia's been on my list for a hot second too. I know. I need to. I have a feeling that I'll be seeing a lot more of the world in the not too distant future. Thank you. I'm glad for all of you being here too. It's really, even though I've been really bad at reading the chats, I'm really glad that y'all are here. Um, I feel like the most mundane way to put this is like the Knight of Wands, Judgment, and the Sun. It's like quantum. It's like a concert of resonance. So it reads as like this quantum jumping, quantum shifting, quantum timeline, this and that. But it's like not informed. I guess it's almost like informed consent because there's a level of like being aware. It's like the thing that the hermit finds inside of them. I don't think there's a way to really communicate this. This is almost like the light, the sun that the hermit finds when it's said that we're made in the image of the creator. This is the power of the creator that lies within the person, which is again, it would lead to, or it would help explain why it's so interconnected with the everything and why it's so like welcomed by the everything. But it's like it's really shifting one's experience outside of just themselves. That's why it's like the most mundane way I can put this is like quantum jumping into realities where other people have also made the same. It's like a bunch of people quantum jumping into the same reality that all align in that way. But it feels like it's so much more than that. This I I'm almost like surprised that the Eight of Swords didn't come out. Just in terms of like it being something that in recent and or recorded history, I feel like we don't have too many examples of greater collectives of peoples working together in such a harmonious way. They're not yet, okay. So I'm gonna put these away, shuffle them, get a final card, and then shut this down for today. And so maybe that full moon in Leo was helping me. It's helping to illuminate things that I need to do to work more harmoniously with more and more folks. Oh, 26 minutes, 26, 23 behind. You are exactly when you're meant to be. I started watching a show called Dark with my buddy, and within the first like two episodes, it's like it's not a question of how, it's a question of when. Oh, maybe that's it. Because like maybe rather than like a question of how do we get to this point where we are this greater collective in Russellian terms, where we as a humanity can more closely resemble that Lafruma Elven Ring energy. It's like maybe it's not a question of how, it's a question of when. And when we make it a question of when, the answer can almost be now. I'm like, don't ask Patrick. Patrick doesn't know, but that's what it's feeling like. Final card, please. Final card, please. Bottom of the deck is the Five of Pentacles that kickstarted this whole thing. The two cards that came out, the Four of Wands and the Ten of Wands. There's this like question of what the Five of Pentacles inspires within the self. which is an interesting. It makes me think of like Abraham Hicks. And like when you know what you don't want, you know what you do want, and you're constantly sending these rockets of desire into the vortex. But it's like subconsciously when we're in the Five of Pentacles, maybe we think about the stuff that we want or the things that we would rather have. But consciously, we put out this energy of the Ten of Wands of like how much of a burden it is. Almost. This almost feels like it's not a test, it's a revealer of things. Maybe that's a decent way to look at tests and like a more stankness energy. Maybe like rather than thinking of them as like things that we need to pass or whatever, it's just like, what is this revealing? What is this showing me, about how I view this other person, about what I think, about what I feel? I need more. Oh, well, now the Eight of Pentacles is at the bottom of the deck. The Wheel of Fortune came out. I was like, I need more clarity. I need what is Wheel of Fortune. I feel like this is one of those times where I'm like, what does this mean to you? When the topic is the Five of Pentacles, and again, the Five of Pentacles more so being like our view of what the world is and how cold the world can be and how easy it is for us as people to disregard like the or to minimize or to pursue self-fulfillment rather than like where other people are. It's like when we think about the state of the world, does it put us in this or this? And again, it's like the answer can be both. We can be both a little discouraged at the state of the world while also wanting to come closer together. We can also want to come closer together, see, witness, experience, hear news of examples of us coming together, and then it making it seem like that happy future isn't too distant because they're like they're energies that already exist now. It happens and it occurs in people and in places all over the world. We just don't necessarily see it as much. And it follows along the lines of like, why is it that it seems like the only news that spreads is like bad news? And so then there are those who focus on showing like this is the good that happened in the world yesterday or this week or today or this month and this year or whatever. And then when it comes to the Eight of Pentacles, which is after the Seven, it's the Wheel of Fortune. This is crazy. This is wild. There's a level to this where I'm just like, I don't know what this means. Like, because this is saying something to me that I'm just like, what? It's very like, okay, maybe on the other channel. Not here. What was that? What was 352? All right, well, maybe it's speaking of Saturn, this is another deck where the fixed signs are shown on the Wheel of Fortune. And so I was gonna say instead of Jupiter, it feels more like Saturn. but maybe not. I don't know. You know what? I'm not going to leave that as the end, especially since it ended with the Eight of Pentacles. Maybe that's a little bit of a preview for what comes next. And honestly, whew, now you're up all night. Honestly, it's fine. We'll do two more. I was going to do two more, but I guess not. I guess we're done. Bottom of the deck is the King of Wands. The card that disrupted everything is the Page of Swords. And I'm pretty sure in reverse, yeah, in reverse is the Queen of Cups. The Page of Swords knocked out the Queen of Cups and flipped her upside down. This is funny. I was thinking about how I feel like I've seen every card in this deck and how I've only probably seen like the same 10 cards. And then I saw the Queen of Cups when I was shuffling before I went live. And I was like, oh, well, here's a card I don't see all the time. And I was looking at her. And then I was like, oh, I have seen her before. Because there was something about this lighthouse that made me think of another card. I can't remember if it was, I think it was Judgment, actually. Oh, I love the love in the chat. I'm glad y'all take care of each other because I haven't been paying attention. Maybe the King of Wands at the bottom of the deck again. The King of Wands was with the Ten of Pentacles for the five, maybe. So there's something that the soul knows that. So the soul and the self in this um, scenario are different. Or it's like there's the conscious. It's like there's the self and then a greater self. For this, the soul and the self are different. And it's like there's something that the soul knows that's beyond the self. With this, because it's like with the Page of Swords upright and the Queen of Cups in reverse, it's something new that's led by thought rather than intuition. And so just like the moon and the tower, just like the Five of Pentacles before, about how like there were things that we didn't even know until we learned enough to know other things that we don't even know, or to begin to question things that we had always just taken for granted. Because it feels like there's something that our intuition is incapable of telling us. And that's why the Queen of Cups is in reverse. But to say that is weird. But with the King of Sword or with the King of Wands upright, at least that's why it's like there's something that the soul knows that the self doesn't know yet. Actually, that makes sense. That makes perfect sense. This makes perfect sense. Um, This is related to what the hermit finds at that Six of Pentacles. It's almost like I wish I had my Lafruma or another deck. I don't know if there are too many cards in this deck, but I guess the energy is here, so do I need it? Probably not. It's almost like there's something that's protected. There is some latent capability that we as humans have, some gift from the divine that we're created with that's like limited. Like there's a limiter placed on it. And it's almost because it's like, you wouldn't give a child or a toddler or even a teenager certain things, right? You wouldn't give a baby a flamethrower and expect it to not burn down the house. You know what I mean? And so it's almost something that we mature into at some point. And it's like that's why the intuition can't pick up on this. And maybe it's not that the intuition can't, it's just that like it never comes up. So it's almost like one of those like, well, you never asked me this question, so that's why I never gave you the answer types of things. But with the Page of Swords being upright, I feel like the soul is trying to tell the self that it's ready. The divine is trying to tell us that we're ready for something. What is that something? Like I said, Patrick don't know. And if Patrick did know, Patrick wouldn't say. And it's not for, I don't think it's necessarily for anyone to tell anyone else. Because again, it feels like that's what the hermit finds. That's what we find when we really work through and go beyond. Or I could just show you this and you see what you get from it. All right. Well, thank you for spending your last 2 hours with me, or however you watch this, however you break it up, however long you are or aren't here. Matthew, what's up? Thank you for the songs. It looks like there's two of them. I will put this somewhere. I'll open a new window so I don't forget to watch these. Open new tab. I love that you can like right click stuff and like search Google for this. I feel like that's been the best addition to the internet since the internet. I don't have to copy and paste into Google anymore. The computer is smart enough to know that I want to Google this. Excuse me. So I hope you all have an amazing whenever you see this. I hope you're acting in alignment to make all that you wish to experience your reality. And I hope that you allow yourself. It makes me think of, it's something that I've heard all my life. It's like there are certain things that we never feel ready for. But just because we don't feel ready doesn't mean that we aren't ready. But I hope you give yourself the opportunity to see how ready you are for a lot of the things that you've been asking for and working towards. And with that, I will catch you all the next time I catch you all. See ya.